welcome to Life Matters. I'm your host, Brendan O'Connell. Well, we have two very special guests here today. One has traveled all the way from Florida to be on Life Matters TV. And the other one has traveled all the way from Wakefield, Massachusetts to be on Life Matters TV. And they're both very special people that are leading a campaign that's being seen throughout the country. It has to do with the Choose Life license plate. Our first guest is Russ Amerling. Welcome, Russ.
Thank you.
He's the National Publicity Coordinator for Choose Life America. And then Mary is our state person. She has, what is your organization called now? I'm forgetting.
Well, it's Choose Life Incorporated of Massachusetts, and we coordinate the specialty plate, the Choose Life specialty plate, excuse me, for Massachusetts.
I see. And Russ, you initiated this concept, or right in the very ground level of it. Tell us a little bit about the beginnings and how it's grown over the years and that sort of thing.
Well, we certainly have been involved in it since the beginning, but a county commissioner in Florida named Randy Harris was the visionary, came up with this idea, and he was following along behind a specialty license plate vehicle in Florida to protect the panther. And that plate was raising $1 million a year at the time, and there's about 200 panthers in Florida. So he just felt something needed to be done. We need to be protecting children as well. And so consequently, that was the birth of the Choose Life license plate. And that was in late 1996 in Ocala, Florida. February the 4th, 1997, we had our first formation meeting, and that was the beginning of the license plate there. Since then, it's spread across 29 states and raised over $18 million that goes to pregnancy centers, maternity homes, and nonprofit adoption agencies in those states that are life-affirming.
And Mary, now you've been doing. When did you first get involved, or how did you find about Choose Life license plates? And
well, excuse me, I'm coming up on my 10th year working with the Choose Life license plate. I had heard about the lawsuits that were spun from the Florida license plate. It made national news, and I just thought, wow, what a great idea. I would love a Choose Life license plate. And through my research and the great internet, I discovered that we didn't have it here. And I actually phone called Russ, and he told me that it wasn't available in Massachusetts and there was nobody working on it. So my husband and I decided that we would like to try. And that was the beginning of Choose Life in Massachusetts.
I see, and I know it was quite an effort, Mary. You've been a real trooper getting it through. What were some of the key marks? Or were you discouraged at all along the way, or and some of the key hurdles that you had to overcome to bring Choose Life license plates to Massachusetts?
Sure, I was most certainly discouraged during the 7 years that it took the plate to get on the road. I never anticipated that it would be such a long and arduous journey, but because I thought everybody would feel the same way I did. And Florida had the plate, and we're in Massachusetts, but I thought that there would be plenty of like-minded people. It took a long time. Massachusetts is a big state, and spreading the word took time. And I eventually discovered that I had to have many hands to make the burden lighter, and that's what it took. But it did take us 7 years, and the plate went live almost 3 years ago now. We had to provide 1,500 applications and a $100,000 insurance bond. The bond was refundable upon having 3,000 active plates on the road, and we achieved that last summer. But even that the red tape was unbelievable to get that bond finally refunded. I think it was finally refunded probably around the 1st of this year. So we're just in promotion mode now. We have over 3,000 plates. 3,278 is the count I have from last month. And we are working on distributing the funds. We have received over $200,000 in Massachusetts for life. And just working on getting more plates, promoting the message, promoting the plate, and distributing the money. So it's a great position to be in now.
And what sort of organizations would get the money? Are they pregnancy help centers, or are you buying equipment, or what kind of how are the proceeds being used?
Well, we had not given out a great deal of money yet because we had to wait until the bond was refunded. We were very concerned that we were going to have to make up the $100,000 bond ourselves. So in the meantime, we were just distributing small grants to the pregnancy resource centers in Massachusetts. We have a grant application That is available on our website for anyone affiliated with an organization that might be listening. And all that we ask that they do is that they be not-for-profit pregnancy resource centers that do not refer for abortion. And we ask that they help promote the plate with their clients, their donors, in their newsletter on their website. And in return, we will give them a grant. The grants right now are $1,000. We're getting ready to increase that now that we can say, phew, the bond's refunded. If it's a new center or a center that's recently relocated, we'll offer them $5,000. We also offer reimbursement for training. There are conferences available to train directors of centers, but that involves airfare, conference fees, hotel, transportation. We offer to reimburse for those expenses. Most recent initiative we're working on is changing the face of adoption. There's an organization called For the Love of Alex, and we are supporting Brittany Hudson, I believe is her name. Brittany is heading up this organization to make adoption a more appealing choice for young women with an unplanned pregnancy. Another initiative we're working on is mobile ultrasound. So as you can see, as I could go on and on and on, there are so many ways that we can help, and we're just elated to be in this position.
Well, that's wonderful. And Russ, how have you seen it grow around the country, and also your trip up here to the New England states? What's happening here in New England that we should know about?
I guess the reason we're doing this unscheduled visit to New England is because a week ago Saturday was our 50th wedding anniversary, and my wife has for years asked that we go to Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, the Maritimes, and so that was our trip for our anniversary. And while there, we found the opportunity even there to talk to pro-life groups and individuals in those 3 provinces, including New Brunswick, about the possibility of getting a Choose Life license plate effort going in Canada. We'd had a lot of calls from Canada, but never had opportunity to go there. So that was the primary basis of the trip. That was what we planned. And then, of course, realizing that we were going to be up there, we made arrangements to start meeting with individuals here that, like Mary, that have the plate already approved, and help just talk and brainstorm with them. We've met with David Alexander, who is running the main Choose Life license plate effort. Mary is also counseling him and helping him move forward with his effort. Maine has to pre-sell 2,000 license plates, and then goes to the legislature for approval. And David has about 350 plates approved so far. So he needs a lot of help up there.
I see, yeah.
If someone wants to know how to help him, they can go to our website, chooselifeamerica.org, and click on the state of Maine. There's a map there. Click on the state of Maine, and it'll take them to David Alexander's information.
Is Maine different, the makeup of Maine population-wise, so that you'd treat it differently? Or would you do some of the things that Mary has done here in Massachusetts to get those? I mean, you have to get both an application filled out, don't you, and have a check in hand to...
Right. We're finding that it is different state to state. It's definitely different. I had to have 1,500 applications and a $100,000 insurance bond. He has to have 2,000 applications, and he has to have them prepaid. He's cashing those checks. He has to maintain a bank account. And he told me they still have to go to the legislature, even after they receive all those applications. I didn't have to go to the legislature.
So both the House and the Senate have to vote on it, and then the governor has to sign it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not sure.
That's what he needs to do, but also he's been told that that's pretty perfunctory after they get the 2,000 plates. They're not aware of any request that pre-sold 2,000 plates that had not been granted. So he's confident that's going to take place.
And I know that we're in Rhode Island. I believe we have a picture of the Rhode Island plate, and maybe we could get that up on the screen. And the Rhode Island says, "I'm for it, choose life." And tell us about Rhode Island. What's going on there?
Let me back up a little bit. The "I am for it" slogan was stolen from one of the other nonprofit organizations in Florida. But our plate, when we were trying to get the plate approved, it took us 3 years in Florida. We had to pay a $30,000 application fee and get 10,000 people to sign a petition that they would buy the plate. We did that, and the first year it died in the Senate Transportation Committee. So we made up a replica plate that looked just like the real Florida plate that we were trying to get approved. And where the tag number would go, we put IM4IT. And the understanding there would be it has Choose Life at the top. Choose Life, I am for it. And within 18 months, we used that to garner or to collect $45,000 in donations. So that's where the I am for it came from. And of course, Dr. Elizabeth Rex of the Children First Foundation is the organization that's pushing the plate in Rhode Island. We have a meeting there tomorrow, this being videotaped. It'll have already happened by the time this is shown. But we have a meeting there tomorrow. The bill is already in the legislature. It's been heard one time, and we're going to be meeting with bill sponsors tomorrow to move that forward.
And does Rhode Island have the hurdle of 1,500 or 2,000 applications like Massachusetts and Maine has had?
There's two different ways that specialty plates are approved. One is through an administrative process wherein the legislature has created a series of steps, and if the nonprofit organization goes through those steps and meets all that criteria, the approval is automatic. Other states have a legislative process whereby the application is made, a bill is written, and then the legislature must consider that, House and Senate, and the governor sign it into law. That's what Rhode Island has, and that's what the application process will include.
So do you think it'll be a lot easier? Would it be easier to get it in Rhode Island?
Well, anytime we deal with the legislature, it's more difficult, obviously, because you've got so many voices involved. Mm-hmm. But generally, if a state has a number of specialty license plates already, they're usually pretty fair in granting it to other organizations that come forward. Now, there have been a number of lawsuits. In Missouri, for example, they set up an administrative process, and the groups there met all of that criteria, but the committee that was designated to approve it didn't like the message, and they rejected it. And so the Alliance Defending Freedom went in and sued the state and forced them to approve the plate. The same thing happened in Arizona. A lawsuit was required to get the plate approved, and the same thing was required in New Jersey. The lawsuit went on for about 7 years, and then Governor Christie was elected, and he saw the folly of rejecting the plate and settled the lawsuit and gave us the plate in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Let me ask you this question. There are Choose Life license plate out there. Are there pro-choice license plates out there, and how do they sell? I mean, give us an idea of the magnitude of the differential. Might you know, Mary or Russ?
Oh. Fortunately, we do not have a pro-choice plate in Massachusetts. However, if they chose to attempt to get one, they would just need to get 1,500 prepaid applications and provide a $100,000 insurance bond, and they could have a pro-choice license plate. When our plate went to press, so to speak, reps for Planned Parenthood said they had no plans to get a pro-choice plate. But Russ can tell you there are pro-choice plates in this great country of ours, believe it or not.
Generally, no, matter of fact, across the country, no pro-choice organization has requested a plate until the state approved or was in the process of approving a Choose Life license plate. We kind of became the starting point of all of this. And we got the plate approved in Hawaii, and Planned Parenthood of Hawaii applied for and was granted a Choose Life license plate. They had a minimum requirement in Hawaii that you have to keep at least 200 plates on the road at any time, and after 3 or 4 years they were unable to do that, and the plate died from lack of interest. Mm-hmm. Montana has a license plate by Planned Parenthood, and that plate is still selling. I don't know the exact statistics. I checked about a year ago, and we were outselling them 8-1, but I don't know.
In Montana?
In Montana,
mm-hmm.
The license plate. Mm. When our plate was approved and signed into law by the governor of Virginia 2.5 years ago, when he signed it, he emphasized that the specialty plate is a free speech arena, and therefore if the pro-choice organization would like to apply for a plate, that he would be signing that as well. And they did, and he did, and the plate was approved and is on the road there in Virginia now. Pennsylvania also has a pro-choice license plate. The only states I'm aware of are Montana, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, but there could be others that I'm not aware of.
Hmm. And in those other states, which plate is outselling which? Is the pro-life plate outselling the?
Yes, I believe that the
pro-choice
reason that
plate?
Planned Parenthood indicated they weren't interested in getting a plate in Massachusetts are twofold. First of all, they don't sell very well anywhere, the pro-choice plates. But secondly, in Massachusetts, the approval process is very stringent, as Mary has explained, so they just don't want to bother with that. Planned Parenthood, not Planned Parenthood, now in Florida, about 6 years ago.
National Organization of
The
Women?
National Organization of Women tried to get a pro-choice license plate there in response to our license plate. At that time was bringing in almost $750,000 a year. And they worked on it for 2 years and were never able to raise the necessary application fee or get the signatures required. The law in Florida now requires a $60,000 application fee and 15,000 people who will agree to buy the plate once it's approved. So that's a fairly stringent process, and they weren't able to do that.
Mm-hmm. It's a big state too, a lot of people there.
Yeah.
So
It took me 7 years to get 3,000 applications and $100,000, so I cannot imagine.
Yeah, the process.
That is huge.
However, once the plate was approved in Florida, they have a sunset clause that if you didn't sell at least 8,000 plates in the first 5 years of approval, it would die as well. And I remember the agony of thinking we'd gone through all this effort to get it approved. What if we don't sell 8,000 plates? The plate went on the road August the 11th of 2000, and we sold 8,000 plates the first 5 months it was on the road.
wow, that's fantastic.
The plate in Florida has raised $9 million so far in the 13 years it's been on the road. And all the other states have raised $9 million together. But of course, they all came on afterwards.
They came on after us. Mary, if we could see the plates again on the screen, we have the Massachusetts plates. How did you come up with that design of the Massachusetts plate?
Well, it's interesting. In my research of the specialty plates, the number one plate that has over 44,000 on the road right now is the Cape and the Islands plate. It's a beautiful lighthouse. Number two is Red Sox with 38,000 plates on the road. This is as of last month, give or take. Now, I was receiving some feedback from people when I was trying to promote the plate and sell the applications that they preferred a plate that, other than the Choose Life Kids. Nothing against the Choose Life Kids. It's a wonderful logo. I just think Massachusetts drivers are a breed unto their own, and competing with the Red Sox and the Patriots and the Cape and the Islands and the Whale. You know, when you think about all the beautiful plates we have, those are real works of art. And so I just said to myself, I really need a work of art here if I'm going to sell this plate. And it did make a huge difference. The mother and child was done by a friend of mine. CMAC Images is the name of her business. And she just was fully behind the plate, donated all her time and her work and the rights of the artwork to us. And it had a huge impact. It really did. And the feedback has been very good regarding that.
Great, great.
I hope I answered your question. I got kind of lost there.
Well, the Choose Life plate in Florida, of course, was the first design, and we had no idea of it becoming a national plate at the time. I'm a lay singles pastor, and I've been doing singles ministry for a number of years. Mm-hmm. And after I retired, I thought I was just going to continue doing that. And I met Randy Harris, the founder, and he told me what he was going to do. And I figured, well, I'll take a year or two out of my life and do that and then go back to my singles ministry, or we were going to continue the ministry. But the first year it was approved, which was our second year of applying, it was vetoed by the governor at the time, Lawton Childs. And that night, if you'd gone to MSNBC News online, you would have seen a picture of the Choose Life plate, and the caption said, Florida governor vetoes anti-abortion license plate. And within 6 months, we were speaking to pro-life groups all around the country, and in 35 different states wanted to know what they were doing, what we were doing, how we were doing it, and so forth, and it just exploded and became a national effort. But the design, well, I guess I need to back up a little bit. My wife and I are full-time volunteer consultants to the Choose Life license plate effort. Mm-hmm. We've been in every state now. We've trained groups in every state, and the goal is for them to get a Choose Life license plate. What design they put on that is entirely up to them and their legislature, because the legislature has a say in the design. But so far, of the 29 states that have approved the plate, all of them have the words Choose Life on the plate. About 80% of them have chosen to use the Choose Life kids somewhere on the plate. And I think about 7 or 8 have used what we call the national or the universal design, which is Florida's. I think Oklahoma has it, and Virginia has it. But anyhow, that's basically what's happened. And the goal is to let the group that's working to bring the plate to their state have absolute control. We're just a consultant. We give them advice, we help them any way we can, but our goal is to see a Choose Life license plate in all 50 states. That's what we're trying to accomplish.
Right, and we had discussed when we were considering changing the design, we had discussed that, and Russ was very supportive. I just want to also say that Massachusetts has a plate that's very similar to Choose Life, where it has the 2 children on it, the Invest in Children plate, and they wouldn't allow a yellow plate in Massachusetts because that's reserved for school buses. So every state is different, all the rules and regulations are different, and every state has to go with whatever their registry or Bureau or DOT, whatever, they're all different.
I see. Going forward, how much revenue do you see it generating a year? I know some of these other states have come on way after Florida, Florida being the first, but is it bringing in $1 million a year across the country, $2 million a year, $3 million, any idea?
No state has that kind of receipts. Florida currently has 32,000 license plates on the road, and it raises $640,000 a year, which is distributed annually to these pregnancy centers, maternity homes, and nonprofit adoption agencies. Mississippi actually is outselling more plates per capita than Florida, and they have about $2.5 million that have been raised since their plate went on the road. So I think Alabama also is $1 million plus plate, but that's been on the road for a number of years. Nobody's bringing in any more per year than Florida at this time, but it takes a while to build.
Right. Can I just say, for Massachusetts, the Cape and the Islands was at one point, I don't know if it still is, bringing in over $1 million a year. I don't know if the plate count was more at 60,000 versus the 44,000 now, but that's basically what we would have to get to bring in that kind of money. I
see. And regarding just, we're getting near the end of the show, adoption, do you help people with adoption at all? Or, I know that there's like a visitation house out in Worcester that they help with, it's a maternity home.
Right.
Does money go to that effort at all?
Well, yeah, sure. We definitely help the maternity homes. We don't necessarily focus on adoption. As I said, we have the initiative to change the face of adoption, but we focus more on the pregnancy resource centers and maternity homes in Massachusetts. But we were able to do that. We were able to do more of a pro-life effort than a pro-adoption effort because of the administrative process that the registry allows.
In Florida, the license plate funds are wrapped entirely around adoption. They go to support the birth mom medically, house rent, groceries, whatever she needs if she's going to make an adoption plan, so that it frees her from the financial constraints that many times encourage or force women into abortion when really abortion was not the first choice they wanted to make. So,
well, Mary, now how can folks get to your website and learn more about this license plate?
And my web address is chooselifemassachusetts.org. If you Google Choose Life in Massachusetts, we are the top return for Bing or Google, so I'm very proud of that. And
terrific.
We hope to hear from them.
Yeah. And Russ, how about yourself? How can folks get in contact with you?
Well, they can get in touch with me. The easiest way is through my toll-free number, 877-454-1203. I believe that's being displayed on the screen periodically. They can also reach me at chooselifeamerica.org, which is our national website, or they can email me, russ@choose-life.org.
Well, thank you both for coming in today, and I know the trip from Florida was a bit long, but definitely worth it to be here on Life Matters TV. We hope you enjoyed today's show, and we'll see you next week. I'm Brendan O'Connell, your friend for life.